this is May and welcome back to my channel for a brand new speed build. So today I'm making a contemporary, modern, kind of farmhouse family home in Willow Creek as part of the save file I'm currently working on. As always, I do have a playlist up on my channel with all the builds I've done so far, so if you haven't checked it out, make sure to do so after this video. So the house we're working on today is actually for the Spencer Kim Lewis household. If you're familiar with the base game Townies, they are one of them. They used to live in this rather tall and modern house with curves and all that, but it's not that long ago that their house, along with some others in the base game worlds, were renovated. And I have to say the new builds are much better, and it's nice to see the progress from when the game was released to now. Like, we have pools, we have platforms, stairs that can be customized, and much more. And it's kind of wild to think that we didn't have that back then. The game was quite different, I would say, and I'm glad they're adding new stuff to base game as well. And I would definitely love to see more modern furniture added to the base game in the future, among other things. So for today's build, I have been finished with this build for quite a while now actually. It's probably been a couple of months since I finished this or was close to finishing it. The only thing I was waiting for was the pottery items coming with the Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack, because I wanted that for Alice Spencer Kim and her artist studio at the back of the house. I'll get back to their new storylines and their makeovers later on in the video as always, because in my save file I have come up with new storylines and careers and given makeovers to the existing townies in the base game. And especially for this family, we needed some of that extra lore to make sense of how they are living in a bigger home like this, when originally they don't have any jobs at all. But yeah, I'll tell you all about the Spencer Kim household later. So yeah, as mentioned, this build has been done for a while. I have been really procrastinating finishing up the speed build and doing the voiceover, but here we are now, and I'm happy to finally be sharing this build with you all. It is a bit of a different one from what I usually do. I actually had a bit of a building break recently though, for about 2 weeks or so, and I was really glad that I had finished up some speed builds that I could share with you while I was on that building break. It just happens sometimes, you know, especially as someone who builds a lot as part of making content and sharing it, making videos and all that. I feel like it's important to listen to your body and know when to slow down. Otherwise, you'll get to that breaking point and then that break will last even longer. So I'm glad I had that break. I still streamed over on twitch.tv/honeymaysims though. I just focused on other things such as The Sims 4 gameplay, and I've been really getting into Fields of Mistra, which is a cozy game similar to Stardew Valley with the farming aspect and a small village and mining and such. And I've been really enjoying getting back into that game. It's such a cute game, and I would say it's a crossover between Stardew Valley as mentioned, but also Animal Crossing, because in Fields of Mistra you can catch bugs, you can jump into the water and dive, and it's just, you know, a calming, cute game. So I would totally recommend checking out Fields of Mistra if you haven't already. And yeah, so I've been doing that on stream, and behind the scenes I've just slowly but surely been starting to build new stuff, and I really can't believe that I'm getting so close to finishing the save file now. I have a lot of builds I'm finishing up or I'm currently working on, and you'll see the next couple of weeks what I have been up to. And if you've been on my channel before, you've probably already noticed that I focused on doing some community lots as well, because that's probably what I'm missing the most of in the save file at this moment. So there will definitely be more community lots coming up on the channel as well, and some of them might have no voiceovers because there's, at least in my opinion, there's not always so much to talk about when it comes to community lots. And yeah, but instead I'll just put on some of that calming background music. I've done it for maybe the 2 last videos I have posted as well. But I do know a lot of people just like having cozy background music on in the background of speed builds as well. So I'm just gonna mix it up a bit like I've done previously, and I hope that's okay. And yeah, today's build has a modern kind of farmhouse shape and look to it on the outside, I would say. And then it's quite dark but modern with a pop of color on the inside. I usually never use red in interiors, but for this one I thought it kind of worked and I wanted it to look a bit artistic, I guess. And I watched back the footage while editing, of course, and I spent quite some time figuring out the shape of the exterior and the colors and all, so I tried my best to shorten down that footage. I think I cut down the speed build by 4 or 5 minutes, just taking out some exterior footage, like sped up as well. So it was a lot. And then you'll be able to see the inside sooner as well. The landscaping on this build is quite simple. For some reason, I kind of struggle a bit on the front of the house, like on what kind of plants and flowers to use. So it became quite minimalistic instead. And I feel like I'm definitely going more in that direction lately for my builds, like doing more minimalistic landscaping, and honestly, it might make it look more realistic maybe. But I do like the look of it being less cluttered, that's for sure. But I gotta have my trees. I always need some of them to take up space and make the lot kind of glide more into the surrounding environment, so I'm definitely doing that for this house as well. As for the back of the house, there will be a small art studio that I mentioned earlier that's going to be for Alice, who is the mother. Otherwise, I do like my fenced-in backyards. I've been doing a lot of them. The fence I use here is one of my favorite modern fences in the game. If I'm not mistaken, it's from the Perfect Patio stuff pack, and I feel like Perfect Patio is probably one of the stuff packs I use the most. The Cool Kitchen one too, I think I use quite often, at least for modern builds. And I think it's quite surprising because they are some of the oldest stuff packs we have. But that also goes for Spa Day and Dine Out when it comes to game packs. I use them quite a lot for modern builds. So yeah, the outdoors, the barbecue is also from the Perfect Patio pack. That is one of my favorite grills to use. It's very like, top tier, and I love that there's matching counters to go with it. That's always so nice. The Perfect Patio Create Sim assets, on the other hand, though, not really my jam. It's actually been a while since we got a stuff pack now, though, right? I feel like kits have been coming out non-stop. It's just a bit too much in my opinion. And that's honestly the reason why I chose not to use any kits for my save file as well. I wanted to use the bigger packs to take advantage of more of the bigger features that we have in the game and make it more realistic in that way when you do gameplay. But I wanted more build items and cast items to use too, so that I didn't feel too restricted. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier on in the video, but for the first version of my save file, I'm focusing on the base game worlds, and that's honestly, it's been a big job. There's so many lots to build and lots of sims to make as well, and storylines and everything that comes with it, but I've been enjoying it so much, and this project has truly inspired and motivated me to continue building and sharing my work with you all. So if anyone is wondering how I stay motivated to continue building all the time, it's mainly because I have a project to work on and a goal to work towards. Because I do remember before I started my save file, I felt quite lost on what to build all the time. It was in a way quite overwhelming because we have so many options with all the packs available, lots of worlds and styles, and kind of restricting myself to focus on certain worlds really helped me. I mean, I have built here and there in other worlds just to break free a bit and do something different, but majority of the time I've been focusing on Willow Creek, Oasis Springs, and Newcrest, and it's been a lot of fun. Lots of fun to make over the townies and come up with their new storylines and careers, and there's also like a mix of different architecture styles that I could do in those worlds, which I think is also really nice to have a bit of variety. And speaking of the townies, we have the Spencer Kim Lewis family living in today's build. They are a pre-existing household that you will find when starting up a new save file. So they already do have a home in the game, but I've of course decided to bulldoze that and start fresh. I did decide to keep them on the same lot though, and this neighborhood I would say is quite fancy. They have their own fancy driveway here at the front of the lot, which honestly isn't the easiest to work with. Maybe that's why I struggle a bit with the landscaping at the front of the house as well. But yeah, I decided to keep them here. And this family, they consist of 5 Sims. So we have a married couple and their kid, and then one parent of each of those parents again, if that makes sense. I did contemplate if I wanted to split this household up, so to separate the elders and maybe put them in their own separate homes, or to put them in sort of like an elder sim community, if you will, which could actually be interesting to make in the future in one of the other worlds. I would just need to find a good world for that. And also, I did put a question on the community tab months ago by now, actually, on what other worlds I should focus on next after the base game worlds are done. And I think Windenburg and Brindleton Bay got the most votes. So I think I'll do those two next. And I've already started briefly on Windenburg with a couple of builds and makeovers. Brindleton Bay is honestly one of my favorite worlds as well. I love a good coastal town. And then I wanted to pick a third world myself to focus on, and I'm standing between Mount Komorebi, Sulani, and Chestnut Ridge. I think I would love to do one of them along with Windenburg and Brindleton Bay to kind of have an entirely different architecture style to mix it up for myself. And as mentioned earlier, one thing I've really appreciated about having the base game worlds to work on is because of the different architecture styles, so that I don't get bored. Previously, I have done like more Mediterranean style in Oasis Springs and more suburban in Willow Creek, and then a mix between older brick houses and modern houses in Newcrest. So I think it would be fun to add a smaller world in the mix there. San Sequoia and Copperdale are definitely two other worlds I'm excited to work on in the future as well. But there's just like a lot of worlds I'm excited to work on, not gonna lie. But anyway, first up we have Alice Spencer Kim, who I have decided to make it into an artist for my save file. You'll also get the makeover picture of her on the screen here, so you can see how she looks like now. She's not quite as colorful as she used to be, but I wanted to make her more, I don't know, like comfortable looking, but still fashionable in a low-key way. That probably makes no sense, but at least I quite like these purple or pink tones on her. I also got to use the For Rent hair that I like, but I don't get many chances to use, and I thought it would be so cool to do one of these full sleeve tattoos on her, so she has a bit of edge to her as well, which I think just makes her look more interesting. I also recently made her a modern art gallery in Willow Creek that she's going to own as a small business venue, which you can do with the Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack. I've just had a lot of fun with that pack, honestly. I'm using it a lot in my builds these days, and especially the community lots. The art gallery doesn't just have art though, so there's a small coffee shop on the first floor, there's a small library, and upstairs you will find the art gallery part and an area where you can teach Sims, pottery, and art, which I thought was a nice combination for a small business venue. And I could totally imagine Alice teaching away pottery and art. So if you haven't checked out that speed build, make sure to do so after this one. You can either find it in my on my channel or through the save file playlist on my channel. Alice is also going to be in like an artists painters club, which you can make if you have the get together pack. I don't think I have that many members in this club yet, but I know for sure that Alice's best friend Tanya Barton, who is an original sim that I have made, she's going to be in the club. And by the way, Tanya has a daughter, and I unknowingly named her Alice before I've even thought of their relationship or like friendship. So now I'm not sure if I will keep Alice as her name and pretend Tanya named her daughter after her best friend, or if I should change it. I kind of like the idea of that, to be honest, but I will have to think it over for a little while longer, unless any of you have like any strong opinions on that. There might be some of those changes, to be honest, before I post the first version of the save file. Like perhaps a name change or a build change, anything like that. I have for sure changed some build details already in some houses, either because we have gotten new items and they would fit better in a certain house, or I've just simply changed my mind about certain things like a name or a look, outfits, anything like that. So yeah, don't be surprised if there are any changes from the speed build versions to the versions that will end up in the save file. But Alice is definitely a quite busy lady with the small business venue. She is in the painter career and she's running the artists club. She is a wife and she's a mother on top of it all. So yeah, quite a busy lady, I would have to say. And Alice is married to Eric Lewis, who you can see here. I have aged both Alice and Eric up to be adults, by the way. They were originally young adults. And yeah, I have made Eric a doctor. I thought that would be quite fitting for him. He just gave off that vibe to me, especially after I was done with his makeover. And it kind of justifies the house they're living in. They're making enough money now to be able to live in this big house in this fancy neighborhood. So they're off well, and I've also made it so that their parents again have had successful careers as well. So we have Eric's mom, Vivian, who used to be a professional pianist. So she's a bit bougie. I tried to make her look a bit fancy, like she looks like she has some money, even though her everyday look is quite comfortable. But for her formal wear and other outfits as well, she uses these like big fancy hats. She is very family oriented though. I added the elder only wise trait for her because she has lived a long life and probably has had her fair share of experiences. So I thought wise would be one of her traits. But as she has aged, she's also become a bit lazy. She's all about relaxing now, spending time with her family and taking care of those connections. I wanted there to be a piano in the house since she is a pianist, and yeah, so there will be the businesses and hobbies upright piano in the entryway, and sometimes she is just out there jamming. And then we have Alice's dad, Dennis, who is still a gardener, a floral designer actually. He's still not too old for his gardening, that's for sure. I didn't really put in anything fancy for him and his career in this house, but at the back of the house, behind the fence, I did add some plots of land for doing gardening, growing flowers, veggies and such. And then next to it there is the flower arranging table, so he can at least work on his skills that are needed for his career. He is a perfectionist and an art lover, and I think those fit well for his job and what he is passionate about. I also wanted to include the hearing aid for Dennis, as you probably saw in his picture. And both of them have their separate bedrooms, and I feel like Vivian's bedroom took me some time to get right for some reason. I wasn't able to make the colors work. I wasn't able to get the vibe right for Vivian, but I did end up with lots of dark colors and this rosy red kind of color as an accent, and I think that could fit Vivian. Also, pretty much all of the bedrooms have an ensuite, like a connected bathroom. I just had so many rooms in this house and I didn't really know what to do with them. So yeah, I ended up with a lot of bathrooms, but you will see all of that later on in the video. Because before that, we have Alice's and Eric's daughter, Olivia, and I think she just looks so cute in her, I think it's a narwhal, like on her top, in these pink purple colors, and you're definitely going to see those colors in her bedroom as well. You'll be able to see what room is hers definitely, since it is the most colorful room out of all of them in this house. Like, it just stands out. But Olivia is a bit of a meanie. She is quite spoiled. She is an only child, and I would just imagine her grandparents always spoiling her, and as an effect of that, she's just become a bit selfish or, yeah, self-absorbed. But since I wasn't able to choose that trait for her as a child, instead I ended up on the mean trait. She has an artistic aspiration though, and I would imagine she would want to follow in her mom's footsteps somehow. I did add photography as one of her likes, so maybe she would want to do something with that in the future. Otherwise, she is also going to be in a drama club, which is an after-school activity coming with a Get Famous pack. And I quite like that's a thing we can do with our kids and teens in the game. There is another mean kid in Willow Creek. His name is Casper Sloan. He lives in the Foundry Cove neighborhood, and his living situation isn't exactly the best at the moment, with divorced parents and now a new half sibling and stuff like that. And somehow I imagine Olivia would get along with Casper. They would be friends even if Casper probably is up to no good. He's very out there and kind of daring. But I would imagine Olivia likes that Casper is different like that. And their parents probably wouldn't be really into that, maybe. Like Casper's mom, Christine, wouldn't like how snobby and wealthy the Spencer Kim Lewis family is, and they're like the total opposites like that. But Casper and Olivia probably don't even care about that. They just get along, so I thought that could be a part of the storyline here. As for the house, I've just finished up the first floor here and we're on to the second floor. But as you saw, I did do an open concept for the kitchen, dining, and living room. Since this is more of a modern house, I thought that would be very fitting here. I catch myself doing a lot of closed off kitchens and living rooms for my houses, so once I do a modern house, I should break free from that pattern, and that's what I tried to do here. And in that whole open space, you probably saw the hint of red that I mentioned earlier. I think I used that one Moschino rug with the black and white stripes and a red outline for the very first time in this house. There are some of the Moschino stuff that is kind of difficult to use, but since this house, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be for, a bit more artistic family, I thought it wouldn't hurt to use some of these more out there items, if you will. Same goes for the big ceiling lamp above the living room that is from the Lovestruck pack. I do believe it's supposed to be a flower, like a petal or something according to the description of that lamp. And as you know, Dennis is a floral designer, so maybe Alice got the lamp specifically made with her dad in mind, which I think is a cute idea. Other than that, we do have a small office or like study area on the first floor, which I thought was more meant for Eric and his work as a doctor. So it's just a simple modern styled office. There is also a spacious laundry room connected to the kitchen and dining. And I also had to put one of the bedrooms downstairs. That one belongs to Dennis, and his bedroom has this really beautiful dark blue color that I just immediately fell in love with for his room. On the second floor, I did something that I don't usually do, or rather I forget I can do this. Or like the roof situation on the outside makes this difficult to do, but there is an open space where the stairs are, so you can see down to the entry area. And again, I did mention earlier that there was a lot of space in this house, and one idea to kind of minimize the area I would need to use, like make it into a room or something, is to do this sort of thing. So I just fenced in the area, and I used a sledgehammer tool that you can find on the top middle here, like when you're building, where you can find all the building tools, and I just deleted the floor that I didn't need. And for this house, I didn't have any problems with the roof either, because sometimes when you delete the floor, like I just said, the roof pieces will be visible on the inside of the house, or you will see the trims of the roofs on the inside. But since I did the roof like I did here, I don't recall having any problems at all. And if you know what I'm talking about, you will know that it's quite annoying. I just wish they could update how that works, but yeah, I'm quite satisfied with the landing area. The dark green and grey bedroom will be Alice and Eric's bedroom. It's kind of simple. There's another area where they can sit and work. And before you get to their bedroom, there is a walk-in wardrobe. It's not the biggest, I have to be honest, but there was enough space for one of the get-together wardrobes. And then I used the new clothing rack from the Businesses and Hobbies pack. So I hung some of the clothing on that. Alice and Eric are going to have their own ensuite, just like the other rooms. I think I cut out a lot of the bathroom footage simply because there's too many bathrooms and they're all quite similar. But I did keep in their bathroom in the video. I love the idea of using a tall half wall and add in the Lovestruck glass door to make a custom shower. So I think I just used the Lovestruck shower, one of those without the walls and all, and it's just a freestanding shower, if that makes sense. And there was enough space for a bathtub, so we got that in there. Vivian's bedroom is coming together, the one I was talking about earlier. The big long painting on the wall above the bed just worked really well with the rosy color on the wall. So that was the biggest reason why I added that one in the room here. And lastly, I'm putting together Olivia's room. It's going to be very light in comparison to the rest of the house. A lot of pink with a turquoise accent color. I used the Dream Home Decorator wallpaper in here, and yeah, there's a lot of wardrobe space. I love using the kids' clothing from Dream Home Decorator as well. so I hung those in the open wardrobe space. I put the block building table in the middle of the room where you can sort of do Legos, like you can build with Lego. And there will be a small study area in the corner by the window, and I just really like the idea of having a desk by the window so you'll be able to view the outside, and it's like a nice sight while you do some work. But other than that, I'm just finishing up the build here and we'll soon head into the screenshot. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content in the future. If you want to be notified of when I upload a video next, make sure to click the bell icon too. This build is playtested, and up on my gallery, my ID is honeymaysims, or you can find me with the hashtag honeymaysims as well. You can also grab the tray files in the description. A big shout out to my Patreon supporters and my YouTube members. I appreciate you so much. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today, and I can't wait to talk to you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye!